Welcome to the Porn Reboot podcast, where you get practical tips to gaining control over your porn or sex addiction. We help ambitious men end their out-of-control sexual behavior with pornography, sex, and masturbation so that you can maximize your life, perform at your potential, and remain in control in the driver's seat, which is where you have to be in order to gain or maintain the success you want in life. I'm your host, J.K. Emezi, certified sex and porn addiction recovery coach. Welcome to the episode. I recently remembered my why. I spent last week on an island with some very smart business owners, learning, having very interesting conversations about failure, money, family, love, and purpose. This is a little mastermind coaching group and mentorship group that I'm a part of. Some of us are peers, and there are a lot of individuals who are a lot more successful than us. There are business owners there who run businesses doing upwards of $40 million a year. And then there are also individuals who do a couple of $1 million a year. Basically, there are also a bunch of crazy motherfuckers like me. They're really out there. But being around them reminded me of my why. And today I want to share it with those of you who've been listening to the podcast for a while. Now, I want to admit, my brother, that what I do is different. It's also hard sometimes because while I'm very good at this unconventional thing that I do, becoming a porn reboot coach was not an aspiration of mine growing up. See, I wanted to be a pilot because in the 80s and the 90s, I was born in 1984, pilots were cool. They controlled aircraft. And what was more groundbreaking than being the, pun intended, right? Than being the man in charge of many lives, maneuvering man's ultimate statement of dominance over nature, flight, to be the person flying the plane. But, life had other plans. From academic experiences, which branded me as slow, to abandonment issues I experienced through my teenage years. Listen, life was determined to direct me elsewhere. By the time I was 17 years old, all I wanted to be was normal. I wanted a girlfriend, someone to hold my hand, to show me she cared and to ease my loneliness. I wanted someone beautiful, mainly on the outside, to be honest with you, at 17 years old, so that I could feel validated, by men and women, and I could feel worthy of being attracted to. I wanted to be able to buy anything I wanted without living in a world of constant bargaining and scarcity. I wanted to be physically strong and imposing to compensate for how small I not only was on the outside, like I was a skinny little dude, but I also felt on the inside. I wanted to be able to defend myself, to be assertive and courageous, so that those who were stronger than me would think twice about taking advantage of me, and those who are weaker, those people would seek my help. Unfortunately, none of those things happened because I found a drug which made me feel normal. And that drug was pornography. It was free, anonymous, exhilarating. And at peak porn addiction in my 20s, I masturbated to it multiple times a day. And so, for the first quarter of my life, I was not normal. Now, like a distant mountain range on the horizon, I see the second quarter looming. I realize that it has taken this long to not just feel normal, but to move beyond it. About 20 odd years. So I ended up meeting and dating the girlfriend. She did hold my hand. She showed me that she cared, and she did ease my loneliness. She was, of course, beautiful on the outside, and fortunately for me, on the inside as well. So my ego received a lot of validation. I was able to escape scarcity and purchase anything that I wanted, travel wherever I wanted, drive whatever I wanted, and live wherever I wanted. Blessed. I built up the body and I became strong. both physically and resilient mentally. What I now call rebooting is what allowed me to achieve all of this. And I have to admit, in a relatively short time compared to the amount of time it takes most men to turn their lives around. The changes which made me more than normal or above average, those came later. Seeds planted in the clearing were raised down during my reboot to replace the forest that was planted during my childhood. My porn addiction was a direct result of not feeling normal. It was a result of feeling out of control of whatever it was that made other people seem normal. And when you use porn to feel normal, then, there's no actual need to do anything else, is there? See, you already told your body and your brain that you are normal. You orgasmed to an image of a gorgeous woman. So you got the wife or the girlfriend, right? That's literally what you're telling your brain. Like, we are masturbating to this porn star. This is the fantasy. And so your brain says, well, I suppose you've got a partner since you're doing that. It can't tell the difference. You watched a strong man fuck her, so you must be strong and studly. You don't feel the pain of lack in your life when you browse for pornography, so you must have all that you need, right? That's exactly what your brain is telling you. Because every time you're about to feel that you need something, pornography gives you what you need. So your brain goes, okay, so we're cool. We have what we need. And so your brain and body treat you like you are normal. And the more life shows you that you are not normal, that you are in fact below average in some area or the other, the more you use porn to escape that reality. Rebooting is accepting that you are not normal, that porn, with everything it stands for, is the hidden operating system of your brain. Rebooting is rebuilding from the ground up. And the best part? Once you reach normal, once you find a wife, once you become disciplined, once you love yourself, once you gain focus, once you reach your potential at work, whatever that definition is for you, you realize that it's not that great. See, you're not always disciplined when you're normal. Relationships are a lot of work when you're normal. Loving yourself is way easier said than done when you're normal. Most normal people do not love themselves. Making and keeping money involves sacrifices you didn't think you had to make. Your body doesn't cooperate with you all the time, so looking great physically can feel like a full-time job. And on and on. Normal shit. But the best part is recognizing that rebooting programmed you not just to be normal, but to be everything you could ever be. See, I had no idea what normal was. I really thought that normal people had great lives, beautiful, loving wives, wealth, freedom. They looked great, and all of this was somehow spiritually, they were spiritually aligned, that they had it all together. And that was the image that my mind constructed, and thus it was the seed that was planted. So I became normal, and rebooting made my normal better. Let me make this clear. You don't have to be an A plus or an A in life to live a fulfilling life. A's have a natural set of genetic traits. They have talent, luck, or some form of nurture in early life that predisposes them to what we perceive as greatness. You'll rarely ever see A's or A plus men out in the wild. You'll see them on stages, on TV, and in the news. B plus is the amazing, put together person whose life you wish you had or you aspire to. If you knew a B plus, you'd read their book if they wrote one, and their lives are realistic enough to be within reach. But your mind and your conditioning, your parents, your friends, your religion, and your culture has placed limits on that. B pluses have successful careers and businesses. They are great contributors to society. They're leaders, they're philanthropists. They lead exemplary lives, which they seem to manage effortlessly. B pluses are Bs who got better. B is simply a normal person who handles the ups and downs of life with grace. And with consistency and not being influenced, of course, by C's, D's, and F's, they eventually become a B plus man. Listen, the vast majority of the world is made up of C, D, and F men. See, I was a D and an F for most of my life. Usually you're just stuck there. You're supposed to be there. You're not supposed to get out of that. Rebooting, and dare I say, being blessed with this out of control behavior made me a B. Now, there's a different system that made me a B plus, and it has nothing to do with pornography. But if you are a C, a D, or an F, rebooting will give you a chance at everything else you wanted in life. A chance. And that's why I didn't become a pilot. At least not an airline pilot. Because, when you think about it, transporting you, my brother, from C, D, and F to B, if that is what you are, is infinitely more rewarding than physically moving you to a different location in a plane. Showing a man that he can conquer his self-imposed beliefs, that he can move past an urge, a desire which feels more powerful than he is, and not only achieve his goals, but to touch most of his dream. Holy shit, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. Now that will always be more impressive than an airplane. And this, my brother, is why I am a porn reboot coach. I'm JK, your brother in this struggle. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Porn Reboot podcast. I'll speak to you later on in the week. If you found this episode helpful, here are 4 ways I can help you with your out-of-control sexual behavior for free. The first way is to grab a free copy of my book, Confessions of a Porn Addict, 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men at elevatedrecovery.org, or visit the link in the description below this episode. The second way is, if you're not sure where to start, but you'd like to learn more about my team and I, if you'd like to spend time with like-minded professionals and business owners who are controlling their behavior, then join our free and confidential group, the Porn Reboot Group on Facebook. There's a link to join in the description below this episode. The third way is if you need help right now because you have a burning issue, your behavior with pornography is hurting you mentally or emotionally, you're about to lose your relationship, you want to live up to your potential, be an authentic man, and free yourself from shame, guilt, and underachieving, then click on the link in the description below this episode that says free coaching call. And the fourth way is to leave us a 5-star review if you enjoy this podcast, so that we can reach more men who are struggling in silence and bring back the lessons we learn from coaching them to freedom.